10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello Bournemouth fans, Cherry's Red Army YouTube channel. I'm Kirk and we have an exciting video for you today. In this feature, we'll be fortunate enough to talk to some AFC Bournemouth ex-players, and what a way to open. A player that spent 14 years at AFC Bournemouth, captained the club, an energetic right back who was never afraid to put in a challenge and would always leave everything on the pitch. I am pleased to welcome to the show, Neil Young. How are you, Neil?
Good, mate. Good, thanks, Kirk. Very good. Bad.
I appreciate you taking the time to do this. We're going to go through your career and we'll talk at the end about what you're up to now. But how are you? Are you well? And how's the last year been for you? Currently talking in Australia with the current COVID situation.
Yeah, look, we've been quite fortunate over here. At the moment, we've got no new cases, which is great. Obviously, we've closed the borders here as well, so we've got no one flying in and out, which will just help massively. Although I heard today on the news that Melbourne's shutting its borders to South Australia today. So, yeah, I think they've got a few cases there, and I think they're just worried about, the new flare-up that they've had in the UK and South Africa now. So they're just keeping on top of it. I mean, we're going day to day, living day to day as normal, really. I mean, we're still having to scan to go into supermarkets and stuff like that, just using our app on our phones. But other than that, we're just living life as normal, So we're very fortunate compared to you guys, from what I'm led to believe, and my family obviously being back in London and in Essex, and then obviously down in Bournemouth. We've got a lot of friends down there still. And some of the stories we're hearing there, I mean, my dad had COVID, my stepmom had it. There's so many people are getting it. And it just knocks you for six, apparently, from what I'm led to believe. So, touch wood, hopefully it doesn't, flare up here again. But I want them to. I don't think we're going to be flying here, by the sounds of it, for people flying in and out until February next year now, which is a bit of a shame because I wanted to get back, obviously, to see everyone, but it doesn't look like it's going to be for a while yet.
I'm sorry to hear that as well about your parents. Was it you say your parents?
Yeah, my dad. Yeah. So,
but they're all well now.
Yeah, they're getting better. But it takes a while, so it knocks it out of them when they're getting on a bit, doesn't it? So.
Okay, so let's look at your career and let's go right back to the start. A kid born in Harlow. What got you into football, and how would you end up being on Tottenham's youth books?
Yes, it's a long story, really, but I'll just try and cut it down as best I can. I was playing locally for a team called Spartak, and we were the worst team in the league. I used to come off that pitch every week, crying my eyes out. Oh, we're crap. Oh, I don't want to go back. That got getting beat 10-0 every week, and we kept at it. I mean, we was a good bunch of lads, and we kept going, but never really got anywhere or achieved anything. And then I went on to I left them and went to play for a team called Sports Centre Youth. And they were really successful. I went to the Mid-Heart, left the Essex League, went to the Mid-Hearts League, which was better competition for us, really. And then I got picked up by, you're not going to believe this, by Southampton, of all clubs.
Really?
They actually had an academy in Harlow, in Essex, from where I was. And so every weekend or other weekend, I used to drive down to Southampton and try it out down there. And then I went for the main trials down there to get into the schoolboys. And my dad would kill me. He still doesn't believe it. I went down there with a brand new pair of boots. And after about 5 minutes, I couldn't even walk because the blisters were over my feet. Hence the side I didn't get in. So when I come back from that, and it's a bit of a knockback, really, I wasn't really playing. And then I got asked to go and play in a five side for, I didn't know at the time, but Glenn Hoddle's team, which was called Anne Glenn Zoe. Anne was his wife, Glenn, obviously Glenn, and Zoe was his daughter at the time. There was Anne Glenn Zoe and a sports shop as well in Harlow. So I rocked up and played, obviously, five-a-side for them guys, and they asked me to sign on. Obviously, play for that team that season. And that year, I got picked. Some Tottenham scouts come down, and they picked me to go and train, twice a week at Spurs. I didn't sign schoolboys, but I was out there, every week, twice a week, playing on the weekends. And then I kind of just didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know I was going to get taken on YTS. I just carried on playing. So when I left school, I actually went and got a sitting in guilds in bricklaying at Tottenham College. And I was ready to be a bricklayer, believe it or not. And got my course all set up. Next thing I got a phone call from Tottenham, John Moncur, who was the head of youth department there. And he said, look, we want to offer you a YTS. And I said, well, let me think about it. Because I said, I've been a bricklayer, So it's like, and then all my mates were going, you're mad, young. He said, what are you talking about? I said, so in the end, I went and signed YTS at Spurs, So from nearly being on a bricklayer to becoming a YTS at Tottenham, on big money at 26, when it was £26 a week at the time, big money back then. But then I'd done my apprenticeship YTS there, and then I signed a year pro at Spurs.
And I suppose, obviously, your ambition at that time would have been to break into the first team. I mean, who was sort of your competition at Tottenham at that stage in your early career?
When you're that young and the way things were back then, you kind of just went. I don't think I really realised, what it was and what I had, being so young back then. I left school at 15. Next year I was in a professional environment. I was always the youngest. Next year I was in a professional environment, with men. It was like, wow, it kind of took me back. But it was a kick up the backside that I probably needed at the time, because it made me grow up a lot quicker, being in that environment with senior players. But then when you look at the guys that were in front of you, I mean, we was fortunate, you had Gary Mabbott there at the time. You had, the back four was solid. You had Stephen Carr coming through the ranks as well at the time. Big Sol Campbell, lots of players that were coming through that were in front of me at the time, and got very close. That's probably one regret that when I look back now. I left Tottenham with 6 months of my contract left to run. I just had to get out. Terry Venables gave me a 3-year contract, 3-year pro contract, and I was seeing out the last. And then not long after that, Ozzy Ardiles got the job. And then things he had his own ideas, and I wasn't one of them. So I went on loan to Sweden, come back from Sweden, and then Bournemouth popped up.
So Bournemouth would come knocking, I think, under Mel Machin. Tell us how that move came about. 1994.
So I just come back from Sweden, and I come back fresh, hoping for a new start at Spurs, and it wasn't happening. Just pushed to the side. Wasn't getting a look in. Pre-season, I did a look in. Went over to played in Lazio, played in Italy. And then when we come back, just wasn't happening. I had to get away, and I went on loan to Port Vale, and they wanted me, but the money wasn't great. Barnet also wanted me as well, because Ray Clements had just gone to Barnet at the time, but he wanted to take me across. But then I wanted to hang in there. Still thought I had a chance at Spurs, obviously. And then Bournemouth come up, and I went down. I didn't know where Bournemouth was, to tell you the truth. And I didn't know to look on. Well, what division are they in? I was looking at the division. I was looking down. And I was like, oh dear. And it was bottom of the second division then, I believe. So I come down for the weekend. Come down for the weekend, met my mate, and they put me up in the Royal Bath. I thought, oh, this is the life. This is the life, staying in the Royal Bath. And then, I did made my mind up, wanted to sign. I signed, and next thing you know, I was in a B&B around the corner. So it was sucked me in a little bit.
Excellent. And like you said, you did have to drop down a few divisions, which was going to be one of my questions. But as you hit that season, would be quite an historic season in the end. I think you made over 32 appearances. But was that the Great Escape season where we just stayed?
It was, yeah. I mean, no one really gave us a chance, really. I mean, when I came down, we was kind of thrown together as a team, really. And it wasn't until Mel managed to, dig into his contacts, and obviously got myself and Steve Robinson from Tottenham. Got Stevie Jones from West Ham. He got Tony Scully, Ian Cox. He brought in a few boys, and we knuckled down, and we managed to, secure safety. How I don't know. It was just game after game. We just took it as it come. We had nothing to lose, and that's the way we went out there and played.
When I look back at the stats, it looks like we hit some form straight after Christmas, some unbelievable form, which obviously helped us. And as you say, with the Great Escape was sealed. As you went through the 90s, you would be a regular appearance. You'd make lots of appearances. But there would be problems off the pitch, as you can probably remember, financially. Did that affect you as a player, or did you just cross that white line?
Look, it does in a way, but not once you cross that line, and once you cross that line, I mean, you don't really hear anything. You know, you might hear something when the ball goes out, but you know, you're focused on the job. You know, you're focused on what's in front of you. You know, there was a lot off the pitch stuff that was going on. You know, we was part of that. We was part of raising money. I mean, we weren't getting paid sometimes, you know, which was difficult. We was all worrying where we were going to pay our mortgage, but you know, we stuck at it. We got through the hard times, and that, it was tough, you know. But everyone pulled together. The fans were magnificent. I remember the time when we was down at the pavilion now, and all the fans come together, and we put money in buckets, collecting money in buckets and stuff like that. It just seems a different world to where, you know, where it is now. You know, it's just can't believe it.
And that was a low point for the club and for yourself and some of the players. But in 1998, you'd make the club would make the 1998 Auto Windscreen final, a day out at Wembley. Was that one of your proudest moments at that point?
Yeah, no, look, by a mile. You know, just every kid wants to grow up and play at Wembley. You know, that was, you know, we used to play on the grass at the back of my nan's house, and you know, that was Wembley as far as I was concerned. And then, you know, to actually drive down, you know, Wembley Way and see them towers, it was very emotional. I remember walking out on the pitch, and I think it was the Verve was singing "Lucky Man," I think, as we walked out, and I was close to tears, very emotional. But it was again, it was just a blur. It just seemed just a blur. It was just over so quickly, and just wish you know, you had them chances to go back and relive them again, you know.
On one of another AFC Bournemouth fan channel, Back of the Net, they interviewed recently John Bailey, and he spoke very well about you, complimented you as a player, and also said you had a cracking partnership down that right-hand side. Didn't know if you wanted the opportunity to maybe reverse the compliment and speak about John Bailey and his goal at Wembley.
Yeah, look, me and Johnny were roommates for a long while he was there. Unfortunately, you know, he got injured probably in his prime, you know, which was a shame. And he never really recovered from his back injury. But we had a great little partnership up and down that side. I mean, we used to argue on the pitch all the time. You know, we used to give me the ball, and I would give it to him, and I'd shout back at him. But look, we got on really well off the pitch and on the pitch, and we're still mates now. You know, we had a great little partnership where the lads used to take the mickey out of us, where I used to give him the ball, and he used to go on in big runs around the outside of him, big overlap. Then John would overlap me, and it was just a continued overlap on the right-hand side, you know. So, but, I'd like to think we was effective. And yeah, I did enjoy playing with Johnny, but John used to do the dog work as well. John used to get back and cover me when I'd gone forward, and vice versa. So we did complement each other well. And you got to remember, like, the Mel Merchant brought in some good players then as well. You had Mark Steen, you had Matty Holland, you know, you had some good players, you know. And we did gel that year. We was a little bit successful. So it was great memories, you know. And Johnny, I still speak to Johnny now. I know he's got his boy playing now, so he spends a lot of time watching him and coaching him. So yeah, I haven't spoken to him for a while, but I'm sure I will soon.
It was a really, really good interview on Back of the Net on the YouTube channel. So a really great moment.
The real stories, or did it?
He was very open, I must admit. He was. He didn't hold back. But as I said,
that's the South London Johnny Boy that I know.
But I think as fans, we like that. We want to hear those stories. So it was great. A great time then in '98, and then 2000 would come, and there was a spell for you where you'd probably pick up. Was it your worst injury in your career? How did that knee injury come about? And that also coincided with another tough couple of years for the club with relegation in 2002.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think I played 11 games in 2001, I think it was, or 2000. And then I played the back end. I think I played the last 8 games, maybe, of the following season. Obviously, when we got relegated as well. So it wasn't a great time for me. It was. I didn't think I was ever going to play again. You know, it was that bad, and it just come through just wear and tear. I mean, I've got osteoarthritis now in my knee, which is playing me up now pretty badly. But other than that, you know, that was probably the down part of my career, not knowing, and I tried everything to get back. I tried everything I did possible to get back, and I just had knocked back after. I went to Lillishall, thinking I was on my way to full recovery. Went to Lillishall, and they turned around, they'd done some tests on me. They said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I've come back to get fixed. I want to play." They said, "You ain't going to play for another 6 months." And that was just devastating. So I packed my bags, got back on the train, and back home, and then just done rehab again, tried to focus on getting fit, and never thought I'd see the light in the tunnel. And then I started kickboxing with a guy called Matt Turner, which was fantastic for me because I was more worried about getting hit in the face than my actual knee. So he had me moving, twisting and turning. The conditioning side of it was fantastic. And then I remember rocking up, and I played 45 minutes Millwall away for the reserves. And then I remember rocking up at a game on the Tuesday night, I think it was, the following week, and we was playing Brighton at home. And I walked into the change room, and Sean Driscoll went, "Where's your boots?" I went, "What?" He said, "Where's your boots?" Just been out 18 months, albeit. Just been out for 18 months, played 45-minute game in the reserves a week before. He said, "Where's your boots?" I said, "They're in the car." I said, "Go and get them." He said, "You're playing." I went, "What?" He went, "Yeah, and you're captain as well." I went, "Oh, Jesus." So no pressure. So after 45 minutes of being out for 18 months, it was kind of, I think it's what I needed. And I'd always thank him for that, for getting me back out there again and made me captain. And I think we drew 1-1. I think I got booked in the first 15 minutes. That made me feel better again. I was back. And I think I made it to 80 minutes, which was, and the reception I got from the crowd was magnificent. It was fantastic, So they drove me on more than anything else, that day. One game that I always remember.
What's the worst part when you get an injury like that? Is it not being able to do the one thing you love, or is it not being able to help the team in a tough spell, or is it a bit of both?
I'm a bad watcher. I can't, if I'm there, I need to be playing, and because that's the way I've always done it. And probably the worst thing is rocking up, and it's like Groundhog Day. You rock up every day, you do the same things. And the thing is, with my injury, there was no one really knew whether there's any comeback from it, because it was the same as Jamie Redknapp. It was bone bruising, so, and I had it microfractured. There were so many complications I had with it. And in the end, I had it microfractured. And it was quite a new procedure at the time, and I was unsure. The rehab that I was getting was not what I should have been doing. Hence, that's why I was out for a lot longer than what I was. So it was just setback after setback after setback. Especially when you think you're nearly there, and then you get another setback again. It was like, oh no, is this ever going to end? And that's the worst thing for me. It's just like I've had injuries in the past where, right, this is your time frame. You're going to be back. You'll be doing this by week 3, to week 4. You'll be back on the pitch. Week 5, you should be playing again. That's you have your whatever ligaments done in your ankle and stuff like that. So you know when you're going to be back. Whereas this one, I didn't know, and that was the worst thing, just not knowing, if ever. And lucky enough, I was on a 4-year contract at the time. If I hadn't had a 4-year contract, I'd have been out. So there's a little bit of luck there as well.
So we'd be relegated in 2002, but 2003 would be another high point for us, and we would make the playoff final, and you'd get back on the turf. And I'm going to show some images in a moment of AFC Bournemouth at the Millennium Stadium. But the morning of that game, I mean, how was you feeling? Was you confident? Was you excited?
I think we was all confident. I think we knew deep down. Everyone was pumped that day. There's Cole Fletcher, myself, Wally, Browner, Wade Elliott, Sean, and the roof was on as well. It made for a fantastic atmosphere. I'm not sure what the crowd was. It's about 60,000, was it? I'm not sure. No, was it 50 or what it was? Yeah, there's Big Fletch, got the winner. I just think we was flying.
Steve Fletch, good friend of yours.
Yeah, we still talk. Me and Fletch still talk, obviously, because he's still part of the coaching team. And if I want any inside information, I'm always asking him. Purches, obviously, still there, and Jason, and obviously Eddie. I was always kept in contact with them guys. And when I come over, it was interesting. That's when I come over in 2018. I was around the first team squad. I mean, we just knew we was going to, we just had bags and bags of energy. I just couldn't live. The longer the game got, we just got on the front foot. Purches making that magnificent run for the midfield. I think he actually started the move as well. Gaz O'Connor was frightening that day. I think he got to brace himself. So I think we knew deep down that it was our time.
I was going to say, when Stephen Purches makes a run up there at 2-1, are you thinking what you're doing? But he ended up getting the third and created a bit of space for the team.
That's a good example of counter attacking, I believe, mate. Yeah, there it is. There, I've been a bit skinnier there. I can remember we got on the bus on the way home, and we had a tracksuits on. The bus dropped us outside the cage. We all bowled in with the VIP lounge in our tracksuits.
And like you said, we'll come back to it at the end a little bit, but a lot of players there that are still at the club and are supporting the club from a coaching point of view now.
Sorry, like I said, I was fortunate enough to go back in 2018, and I was obviously just watching what the guys do, and Eddie was immense. Obviously I played with Ed, and Ed was like doing a little bit of coaching with the reserves and stuff when Bondi was there, but I never saw Eddie as the coach that he is, and I was blown away by the way his commitment, his enthusiasm, his determination, his passion when he was out on the training pitch didn't stop. Wouldn't let the lads rest for 1 minute. Everything was intense. Everything was 100 miles an hour. He got the best. What I watched, I walked away from there amazed. So when I come back to sunny Australia, I'm like, what was it like? I said, Eddie, I couldn't praise Eddie enough. I thought he was a fantastic coach. From what I've seen, brilliant. The way they worked, Purches, Tindall, Fletch, they all worked together as a team. It was great. It was great to watch and be involved in that environment, that professional environment, and just seeing how it works, And different world from where I left off,
So after 2003, we would sort of miss out on the playoffs on a few occasions, but we got to 2005 and you'd have a testimonial against Charlton and your brother. I mean, how was that playing against Luke? And were you the better right back?
It's well. I think if you look at the record, the teams that he played for, I think you'd have to say he was a better player. You don't play for England 7 times. No, well, I didn't anyway, so he did. But Luke had a great record. That was the only other time we come up against each other. So it was a special moment. Other than that, when we was in the garden, I used to nutmeg him all the time or throw him around because he was a lot younger than me. But as he's got older now, I like to say I taught him everything he knew. It was difficult because I could never watch him play, because he was always playing at the same time as me. Also, when I finished, he was nearly, he was coming. He had a bad injury and was nearly thinking about retirement as well. So I didn't really get a lot of opportunity to watch him play. But when I did, I always made the time to watch him play. I did go and watch him play for England a few times, which was very emotional. Watching your brother play for England. So, but yeah, I'd still like to think that I'd have him in a 100-metre sprint. No, I wouldn't.
A question for you though, because it's very rare. I mean, I think Gary Neville and Phil Neville came up against each other once. But if you find yourself on that pitch, and I don't know if it did happen in that testimonial looking back, but if there's a 50-50 ball there, I mean, what's your thought? Do you go in, or is it your brother?
I tried to get him in the corner. So I remember the ball when it spilled out into the corner. I tried to get him in the corner, but it was too quick for me.
But a great day. So 2008, I think, would be your last season. An emotional season again, I'm sure, for you, and it would mean that we were relegated again, but only just. I think we put a run together, didn't we, at the end of 6 games, and I think it was the last day of the season that we just didn't get over the line. I mean, how was that for you, being 14 years at the club, captain the club, day out at Wembley, day out at Millennium Stadium, but to finish like that? How was
it? Wasn't the ending I wanted, and I'd always regret the way I left. But that's football. It happens. A new manager comes in, for whatever reason doesn't fancy you. Doesn't rate you. So I obviously went on loan to Weymouth halfway through the year. I was down there for a month. Loved it down there. Jason was down there coaching. I was down there and I was playing. I was enjoying my football again after being in an environment where I felt that I wasn't wanted. I think that year as well. I think Fletch went as well. I think Fletch went to Chesterfield, and then it's a bit weird how it happened really, because I was playing down at Weymouth. I signed an extra month. Again, enjoying my football, like I said, and the club, Eddie rang Jason and said, Bondi wants you back, young. I went, I don't really want to come back. He said, no, he wants you back. So I was like, Jay, tell him I'm happy down there. I'm playing football. I'm enjoying it. And he said, no, he wants you back. So I had to come back, and really bizarrely, he made me captain. So I come back, trained on the Thursday, I think it was, and the Friday, and he gave me the armband on the Saturday, and we played Leighton Orient and we won 1-0. And I had a good game, to be fair. I thought I did. And then And then we went and played Northampton away the following during the week, and I think we lost 4-1, I think it was, and that was it. I was gone again, you know. So it was a frustrating time, and what happened as well. See, I knew that I had a visa coming from to get into Australia, and the lads knew as well. And I thought, look, before the gaffer hears about this, I'm going to tell the gaffer, you know, what's happening before he hears it from someone else. You know, I'm at the end of this year. This is my last year, and I'm moving to Australia, kind of thing. And I think he kind of held that against me as if to say, oh, he doesn't care, you know, and that wasn't the case. I was just being honest. And for me, I wish I wasn't honest. I wish I just didn't say anything. So I reckon he would have, you know, I reckon I would have played, you know, more of the games towards the end of the season, maybe. But and then tonight to be sub and on my last game at home as well, and then you know, he didn't put me on. So that's football. That's football.
Like you say, it's football, and it's a bit sour. But what a career! 14 years and some really good
memories. Yeah. You know, 14 good years as well. So.
And as you said, you followed the club since then anyway, and you've touched on Eddie a bit. And it's funny because a lot of people say that they didn't see what Eddie became. But that rise to the Premier League, did it surprise you what Eddie and Jason did?
I don't think anyone believed it. You know, it was like I said. You know, it's been said before. It was a roller coaster ride. You know, it just kept going up and up and up. And yeah, I mean, I kept in touch with the guys. You know, wishing them luck and stuff like that. And yeah, how it happened, I just don't know. I mean, you probably saw more of it than me. Could you believe it?
No, I mean, even when we beat Bolton 3-0, and I was there, and I got back at 1 o'clock in the morning, I think I couldn't get to sleep, and I was thinking, could we lose 19-0 at Charlton? Because that's what it would have taken for us not to go up. And then, you know, we said we'd take a year, and we ended up having 5, and you know, it was absolutely amazing. And fortunately,
yeah, it just seemed to build momentum as it went, and I think you had the players believing it, and the amount of the players they got in. You know, it wasn't big name players. There was players that were in and around, you know, some not even in the 4 tiers of the football. You know, they brought these guys in from non-league, a lot of players, and to get what they got out of them was fantastic. And credit to the coaching staff. You know, it's fantastic.
I've always said Eddie's a bit of a freak and a bit of a genius, and obviously he walked away at the end of last season, and the club had the decision to make. They gave Jason Tindall the job, great servant, great assistant to Eddie. Was that a surprise that Jason was given the job, or could you see why?
I kind of did see that coming, and I did see the point of it. You know, you've got what Eddie built there. You know, it'd been difficult for someone just to come in straight away and change it all. You know, whereas at least they give it a chance internally. And unfortunately, you know, for whatever reason, it hasn't worked. You don't get much time these days in the Premier League. You know, as you've seen, I would like to have seen him got a little bit more time. You know, because you know it only takes Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, he gets a couple of wins now. I know it's not so much now because he's dropped off the top again. But you know, they stuck by him, and the thing that confuses me is he brings in, you know, Woodgate into his coaching staff. He's allowed to sign a couple of players, and then they get rid of him next minute. They haven't even had a chance to work on the training pitch with the new players. You don't know what he could have, you know, produced. You know. So yeah, a little bit surprised, but by the dismissal of Jace and stuff, and you know, there's a lot of good stuff that Eddie's built there, and it'd be a shame to see it all disappear, you know. But you know, if the club wants to move in a direction, then maybe see good and bad in both, you know. So.
And as we speak, last night AFC Bournemouth beat Burnley in the FA Cup 2-0 to make the quarter-final for the second time in their history. And as you said, Woodgate's now at the helm, looking after in caretaker charge. Stephen Purches, I've always been a big admirer of. Steve Fletcher's there, Sean Cooper. Yeah, I mean, what do you see the board doing in the next few weeks with regards to attacking, trying to get back to the Premier League?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, Woodgate's got a couple of results now. Has he brought in Harry? Am I right in saying he's brought in Harry as an advisor? Or is that rubbish?
So my understanding is that he's not being paid. He's purely come in for advice and to help Woodgate. Yeah. I think he's overseen a couple of training sessions, but I believe he hasn't got an actual role at the club.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Look, when I come over and speaking to Purches, I mean, I think Purches has done his diploma. So Purches ticks all the boxes. He's highly qualified. Whether he's ready for that move just yet, I don't know. At the moment, he's learning, like a lot of young coaches do. He's probably doing the right thing. Chris Hughton done it for years. you know, he was always an understudy to coaches, and just learning. The amount of coaches he must have learned off, you know, because and he's gone out and actually took a senior role himself and made a good job of it. Most of the clubs he's been to. But I can see Purches doing exactly the same in the future. He's doing exactly the same. And from what I saw when he was coaching back in the UK, he was excellent. He was excellent. So will they stay with Woodgate? I don't know. I'm too far away now. I keep asking Fletch, and Fletch says, "Oh, young." He said, "I don't know." So
it's a difficult decision. And whilst he keeps winning football matches, it's going to become even harder. So Neil, what are you up to nowadays then? I know you're in Australia, but tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since you left the club. And
yeah, so in 2009, I made the move here, and I was working for a private academy, soccer academy. And after about 6 months, it was like I could still probably play a bit. So I sent my CV off to all the clubs in South Australia as a player coach. And come to United, where I'm at now, they offered me for an interview, went for the interview, got the coaching player role at the seniors here. And we got, so I built a team and we got promotion the next year. And we won the FSA Cup. So we've done a double. And for a team in the second tier to win it's like a team in the second tier win the FA Cup. You know, it doesn't happen over here. So we won the cup and we got the promotion as well. So it was a great year, and I thought, this is easy, this coaching playing like. And then the following year we got relegated. So it was a bit of a wake-up call, yeah. So I hung my boots up that year and just focused on the coaching side of it. The older I was getting, the more I was kind of rebelling from eating the right foods, preparing the right way, getting weighed twice a week. I thought, I've been all through all that now. I said, I've had enough of that. So went into coaching, and I coached them, got promotion again. And then I stepped away and I started working as a TD here with the kids and stuff like that, which was fantastic, you know, working with the kids here. And then I got the bug for senior football again, stepped back in, and we got promotion again. So we're back in the top flight again now, which is fantastic for the club. We've got 300 juniors here as well, which I oversee, technical director as well. So working in private schools, running academies, doing school holidays, it's just football, non-stop.
Sounds busy, but it does sound like you're enjoying yourself, which is.
Well, I was going to put my CV in actually for the
gig. Do it. Neil Young and Stephen Purches has got my vote, so I'll take that. I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, if you had an opportunity to say anything to the fans that supported you through those 14 years, Neil, you know, what do you like?
Look, fantastic. I mean, it was interesting because obviously when I go back, I went to Fulham away when I was back, and the amount of fans that come up to me and saying, "Oh, Young," he said, "we used to love you and used to play." Quite emotional, you know, and I just don't really see it that way. Because all I'd done was doing a job. You know, I was going out in the park, getting rid of the player I was playing against as quickly as possible, and I give them my all and trying to win games, you know. And if that brought, you know, pleasure to the guys that were watching, then fantastic. But you know, I never really thought of it that way. I was just going out doing a job. But you know, thanks a lot to all the fans for sticking by me, and for when I come back from obviously from a long-term injury. You know, the reception I got was fantastic. So. And I always remember that, you know, I always remember, you know, the songs I used to sing. And even though I must apologise for the amount of times I must have hit people in the south stand from behind the goal, mate. So I apologise for that, for ever being the ball at anyone, missing the target.
Some must have ended up in the car park.
I think they did, mate. Yeah, it's because the stand was so low. I tell you what, if Fletcher's head was in there, I would have pinged it off Fletcher's head, let Fletcher leave Fletcher's stand. I would have been aiming for that.
Absolutely. Neil, an absolute pleasure, an absolute legend of the club, and I can only appreciate you for doing this, and wish you all the well and all the best in the future. And when we can get back into stadiums and you're able to come back to the UK, we'd love to see you back at the Vitality or Dean Court.
Well, I mean, when I come back actually when they play Southampton as well at home, and I went out on the pitch and got a great, you know, I'm sure some of the little kids are in there going, "Who's this, Dad?" You know,
is that the 1-1? Is that the 1-1 game?
Yeah. And I bet some of the little kids are going, "Dad, who's that old git on the pitch?" You know. But again, got a great response from the crowd, which was fantastic. And memories that you remember. My kids were there as well, and the kids went, "God, Dad, you was quite famous, weren't you, when you was playing?" Because I was signing all, and they don't remember that. You know, they don't remember me really playing that much. So. So it was good for them to see that, you know, where I spent most of my career, you know.
Amazing. So, really enjoyed this, Neil, and I'm really grateful for your time. Wish you all the best.
Thanks very much, mate, and good luck to Bournemouth for the rest of the season.
Hopefully, Premier League. So,
yeah, hope so. Hope so. Back up with the big boys again, eh?
Hopefully. Cheers, Neil, and I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, Kurt. Thanks, mate.
Wow, what a player, what a guy. Let us know your comments on your best memories of Neil Young, that day out at the Millennium Stadium and Wembley. Let us know in the comments. Also, make sure you subscribe to our channel and like as well. Really enjoyed that, and I'm sure you did as well. Until the next video, we'll see you soon. Up the cherries.